you curious about Apple's secrets to success? Have you ever wondered why iPad and iPhone had only one button? Do you want to make your teams and business more effective? Do you want to simplify your professional and personal life? If answers to any of these questions is a yes, then stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to my channel. In this episode of the Book Corner series, I will share the insights from the book Insanely Simple. Ken Segall, an author and former marketing leader at Intel, IBM, Apple, and Dell, has documented insights on simplicity at Apple in 10 parts or chapters, each explained by stories. Today, we'll explore a few of those key chapters. Let's move to the chapter Think Small. Apple encourages big thinking when it comes to vision and small in everything else. One day, Steve Jobs spotted a lady in the meeting and asked her why she was there. She said that she was part of an earlier marketing project and that's why she was invited to this meeting. Steve Jobs thanked her and asked her to leave the meeting room. It was because Steve's rule for meeting was to keep the group small and smart. He believed that when the body count becomes higher, we are inviting complexity to take a seat at the table. I can relate this to what a friend of mine once told me about meetings. Wherever he leads meetings, he sets it up only for 15 minutes and still ends up covering the entire agenda. The author shares another story on Think Simple, which is related to a packaging project. The project team was trying to work on two different packages for two different versions or variants of the same product. Steve Jobs suggested one product, one box, because he believed in simplicity and there was no need to have two different versions of packaging for the same product. Let's move to the next insight or chapter, which is Think Minimal. Steve Jobs believes focus is saying no to 100 good ideas. He states, I'm actually as proud of the things we haven't done as the things we have done. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. In November 2011, Mac had two laptops, MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. At the same time, HP and Dell had 23 and 18 models respectively. Apple believed fewer models means lesser confusion for its customers. Human beings are a funny lot. You give them one idea, they will nod their heads. You give them 5 ideas and they will scratch their heads. Apple has such a loyal and large follower base not because of the products it can make, but because of the products it chooses to make. Author shares another story on keeping things minimal. Microsoft's Zune store used Microsoft points. Customers had to buy points in hundreds, then use a conversion rate of 80 points to the dollar to buy a 99-cent song. How confusing. What did Apple's iTunes stores do? They just charged a fixed price for each song. Simplicity 1. This shows how credit card companies and customer reward programs should be simplified in the interest of the customer. Let's move to the next insight or chapter, which is Think Motion. Leonard Bernstein said, to achieve great things, 2 things are needed: a plan and not enough time. When Apple launched its first iPod, it focused only on music, not on podcasts, movies, or photos. The product was launched to the market on time. These additional features came much later. Greatness is vital, but what is more important is delivering it on time and delivering as promised. This reminds me of Parkinson's law, which states that the work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. With Parkinson's law, now we know that the law of procrastination had a scientific name all along. More the time you have for exams, office projects, or a personal task, more you're going to stress the work. Let's move on to the 4th insight or chapter, which is Think Iconic. Let's move to the one button concept from iPhone and iPad. The official symbol of simplicity is 1. It's the simplest number ever, easily understood by a child. Steve Jobs insisted on iPhone having only one button as things get more complicated when you move away from one. Only reason Apple did not go with 2 or 3 buttons is because it is more than one. Now let's move on to the 5th insight or chapter, which is Think Phrasal. Dell had product names like Inspiron, Vostro, Optiplex, Precision, and many more. Each time Dell launched its products, they had to fight its way into the customer's vocabulary. It always looked like Dell was trying to compete in a spell bee championship. On the other hand, Apple keeps naming simple. It's not just for brand building, but also to avoid confusing people. Moving on to the sixth insight or the chapter, which is a game changer in simplicity, which is think human. When Apple launched its iPod, it did not call it a 6.5-ounce music player with 5 gigabyte memory. It just said 1,000 songs in a pocket. This is the way human beings communicate, and that is the way Apple also communicates. In just 2 minutes from now, I'll be sharing a valuable tip on a website that I follow on simplicity and minimalism based on what we have discussed till now. Having heard authors' views on simplicity, let's look at how do we apply them. Actionable insight number 1. Relook at your meetings. Is the meeting essential? Who needs to be invited to the meeting? Duration of the meeting? And the frequency of the meetings. Actionable insight number 2. Assign tighter timelines to all the projects. Actionable insight number 3. Relook at all business lines, processes, and departments. Look at whether you have too many business lines. Will it take up too much of your bandwidth? Are there too many employees in the organization? And do senior managers have too many direct reports? Should senior managers approve their employees' time off and travel requests? Take lessons from Zerodha, a leading Indian brokerage firm, on keeping your business straightforward and simple. Actionable insight number 4, which is to find ways to simplify your personal life. Ms. Ramya, CEO of We Live Foundation, found ways to simplify her personal life by discussing 5 different breakfast and lunch ideas with her cook, letting the cook choose daily meals for all days. The cook plans, shops on Big Basket now, and prepares meals. No family member can question the cook's decision. See how one can simplify meal planning by empowering one's cook to handle it all without their involvement. Before we move further, let's reflect on these words by Steve Jobs. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple, but it's worth it in the end because once you get there, you can move mountains. I highly recommend you all to grab a copy of this book, Insanely Simple. To buy this book and many other recommended books, look for the links below in the description. Thanks to the spiritual leader Om Swami who recommended this book to me. Subscribe, like and share to show your support. As promised, here's the tip. Check out the website www.theminimalist.com if you haven't already. It's a great site to understand the concept of minimalism. If you have great books to recommend to be considered for review, please name the books in the comments below. I'll be coming back again soon. Signing off, your Kishore.